ladies and gentlemen, the Grand Observer here with another TV review. TV show review, whatever. Because Stranger Things Season 3 finally came out on the 4th. I neglected to watch it that day because I was busy on World of Warcraft, and with the next patch that came out, I've been farming my ass off and been having a blast actually in World of Warcraft. But that's not the point. We're doing a TV show review. Stranger Things 3, Season 3. Funny fact, there's already a Stranger Things 3 review. I haven't watched that one yet, but don't care, because there's already speculation for Season 4. But I'm not hoping that there's a Season 4, and here's why. The story starts off real slow, with the renewal of the characters to see who's here, who's there. We see Mike and Elle, like kish kish, shuck face. Oh dear, that was quite the scene. Hopper is apparently the dad of Elle now that all that madness went through. I think it was clear that he was the dad to begin with. Dang, I hate my hair. Sorry, I tend to play with my hair a lot in this because I never have it cleaned up. Yeah, from Season 2, it's basically Elle and Hopper became family. And apparently Dustin was MIA at science camp. I don't remember if that was in Season 2 or not. They said that, but good thing too. And apparently he made friends with a Shoji. So now that the gang's all acquainted, everyone knows who's who. We see all the basic characters that are there. Again, hang on, I actually missed the part. First, there's a preview clip of the people trying to opening a portal, but in Russia, my home country. But they failed and killed many scientists along the way. So then we go to seeing who all our characters are for the movie, even for the TV show, even though we've seen it all basically in the last few seasons. In the last 2 seasons. Sorry. I have a bad habit of recording these when I'm tired. But yeah, and there won't be any pictures because I don't want to get copyrighted. So just use your head, otherwise watch the show yourself after this and you'll see what happens and see what I'm talking about. But apparently Dustin was off at science camp and he finally returns and telling that he made a few machineries and gadgets, and he made Cerebro, a very powerful satellite dish that can connect to any frequency from the North to the South Pole. Pretty powerful. And supposedly he did with a mysterious Susie. Yeah, it's real fun. And so Mike and Eleven on boyfriend girlfriend thanks to the first season's cliffhanger of them kissing at the prom, which was quite amusing because they were pretty young then. And then yeah, they go make excuses to go away and kiss some more romantic time. After all, they love each other. But of course, that's not the only problem now, is it? There's a mall and stuff. They're sneaking. There's a new mall in town as well, and it closed down many stores and problems. But what's happening is they think he is back, the demon Demogorgon. They think he never died. And here's exactly why he never died. Actually, I'll get to that part because it's a big build-up. First, we have all this catching up and fun, blah, blah, blah. And of course, we see he before the kids, but he survived, and he's using rats at the mountain first to corrupt, to get stronger and powerful, because it's just an idea. The creature needs a vessel. And so that's what he did. He used rats to start the vessel change. apparently these rats have been going around town eating chemicals, poisonous things, fertilizer too. And what's been happening is uh, the I don't know. We actually never got an idea what those chemicals do. Because chemicals are supposed to kill any... Because those chemicals should kill anything. But the thing is, once it possessed the rats, they were no longer human or anything on Earth. Thus the chemicals were apparently not poisonous to it. Or them. Same with humans, because in the long run, he used human dummies, such as our good bully friend from second season, Billy. Of course, he got his lesson served in the second season and became not a bad guy in the third season, but he was a puppet, just like Will was in the second season. But because of that, once they started figuring out... Excuse me. So, once I started figuring out how trouble has been going, everyone has been trying to figure out what's been happening, all the troubles, etc., etc. Like, Dustin and I cannot remember the name. But we also made a new friend to, Robin, which works with the other guy. In the first season, the guy that was his boyfriend, and then the second season, he changed and wasn't the boyfriend anymore. Either way, the guy with the long locks that pulls his hair back like a lion mane. But those three, he cracked the Russian code that Dustin, because he was left all alone, was trying to contact Susie, but Dustin intercepted a Russian transmission. But that Russian transmission turned out to be... Well, apparently Robin, the new character, was able to find out what it was translating to, and you'll have to watch the show. I don't have a link, because it's on Netflix. Netflix is very good, and they've been having more and more anime. But the Robin character managed to crack the to translate the code, what the code was, and also crack it. Once they found out how to crack it and figured out what it was, well, of course they interfered, and we got Eric's sister now joining the fray of the dark world of D&D in real life. That's basically what it is, because in the first, 3 episodes, I paid attention really closely. First 3 episodes, pay attention. I'm not going to spoil this, because this is something that you adventurers need to find out. They, in the first and second season, in the first few episodes, 1 or 2 or 3, they said stuff that would happen in the future, about telling the story ahead of time. They just didn't tell how it would unfold. They just told what was going to happen, which was awesome. You'll have to pay attention when you watch the show Stranger Things Season 3 to find the cool little things that they did, like they did in the first and second, to see how the story unfolded. But they found out where the Russians are stockpiling right underneath the mall, because they built the mall, and they have generators and stuff all over the Hawkins town. Ahead of time, if you notice if you watch this, and if you don't ahead of time, then again there are spoilers. I'm saying. I don't think I said that when I first started this, but the story is like a movie. This season is more like a movie, because if you were to cut each scene that splits apart between the 3 groups, Hopkins and Will's mother, can't remember her, Joyce, and then that's one group. Then you got Will, Mike, Eleven, and Sarah? I can't remember. The redhead girl that's good at skateboarding. And that's the second group. And then the third group is Dustin, Lionhair, and Robin, and Erica. But if you were to cut those into separate parts, you cut those and edit it into those parts going into one line, instead of splitting between the three groups, it could be its own mini-series or 3 separate movies. 3. So I don't know why I'm ending up 4. But because of that, it feels like a movie. Like, every episode makes you want to keep going because it has that vibe of spectacular. Like, it holds off the crucial bit to continue. It makes you yearn to see what happens next. Which, of course, I'm spoiling right now because I loved it. I love season 3. Apparently, season 2 didn't go too well, but season 3 is awesome. But yeah, Dustin and Lionhair Robin and Erica find a secret Russian base right underneath the mall that they made. Hawkins and Joyce are trying to figure out what's causing problems with and why it's happening, and they find a Russian scientist engineer as well as a Russian, even though he seemed more German, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Come with me if you want to live. But it seems like an Arnold Schwarzenegger Russian and bodyguard that keeps the muscle of the facility, basically, even though they're soldiers. Is trying to make sure things don't go out of the Russians' plans and cause trouble for them. aka by eliminating any issues or nosy people, which he has succeeded so far. And yeah, Will and Eleven and them. The second group. Okay, here's what I'm going to do to make this simple. First group, Hopkins, Joyce. Then second group, Will, Mike, Sarah, Eric, and Elle. And then the third group, Dustin, Erica, and Lionheart. And Robin. Okay, so first group. Second group, is where I was at. And what are they doing? Oh yeah! Pretty much throughout almost half of the first few episodes, or half the season, until they started figuring out problems, they were bickering through love quarrels because Hopper was furious about Mike and Elle spending too much time together kissing and being romantic. But nevertheless, after that, then they got more important. But basically, our main focus is not so much on the lovers' core; it's on the Joyce in Group 1 and Group 3 action. Because Group 3 got into the Russian base, has found some interesting stuff out, and found out that in green vials was basically an acid-like power, battery acid, except times 1,000. That's basically a mini nuclear outflow. But not nuclear, otherwise the writers were very lazy on how that slime stuff is. And that burns through the floor like acid. But apparently, they found out the secrets and stuff, but the problem is, they were stuck down there because they didn't have a key card. And because of that, they had to go deeper into the facility to find the way up. And lo and behold, they found more Russians down there. So they had to sneak their way into the communications room. Thank God. They left the door almost open. One guard in there, Lionheart. Knocks him out with a AP video, the mic to the AP video. I can't remember what those things are called. Comcast. But knocks him out, gets to his card, and starts running. And starts going to the next room because Robin found something shiny in the next room. Regrettably, Lionheart and Dustin figure out what they're trying to do. Why they're doing it, no idea. Why they're obsessed with the upside down, we don't know. But the guard that had Lionheart knocked out woke up, and went to the others to get help. And as soon as they find out, they try to skedoot. They found an air vent and to get out, but someone needed to hold the door shut to be able to uh, let the few escape. Regrettably, Dustin and Erica went through the air vents to escape, but the two others, Lionheart and Robin, were trapped and tortured for information. On Holder, who do you work for? You must be if USS is a ice cream. I don't remember what it was. I like this guy. No, tell me who you work for. But they would not talk until they were given some laughing gas drugs. Literally, they liquefied laughing gas and drugged them right in their necks. Painful. Ugh, I hate needles. They overuse those in some horror movies like that. Even though it's not a horror movie. But they spilled their guts out laughing because of that drug. So Dustin and Erica couldn't leave them behind. Dustin and Erica make their way out of the vents into a secluded room that they could find means to escape, and Dustin apparently knows how to drive now. And then again, he has been gone for a while. And Erica finds a cage and asks, because Erica was filled in on everything between L, the portal, and everything. And Erica asks, how big is the Demogorgon? And Dustin says about 9 feet, while she's staring at a cage that's about 9 feet tall. Like they know what's in there. Not a good thing. But yeah. She picks up a giant electro taser. Basically like Jurassic Park. Jurassic World, last one they made, I don't remember. They were supposed to make a third one too, bringing back an old favorite from the last three, from the first three. Aside from that. So they find where they are, rescue them, and get them out. But they're hot on the trails, but the Russians are hot on their trails, trying to apprehend them, as you were. And so they manage to escape, but they're still stuck in the mall because they own the mall, the Russians. And so they hide in a movie theater for a while. Meanwhile, Group 1 found the professor. Found one of the professors in charge of the project of, we're going to call it Project Portal. Because that's basically what it is, that portal. But we find one of the leaders of that project and an engineer working with him, trying to keep a generator stable and up and working properly. As Group 1, Joyce and Hopkins stumble in upon him and tying them up. With the angry Schwarzenegger. I'm just going to call the big guy Schwarzenegger because he looks and talks like him a little. But Schwarzenegger comes in, guns a blazing and fish a flying, to well, what else? Kill the witnesses. But the Americans still got the upper hand and kidnapped one of my own. Kidnapped one of my own. What can I say? Russians are smart or strong, not both. Joking, of course. I'm smart and strong, not to toot my own horn. I can be not humble a lot of times. But life is as a madman, what can I say? But they escape with their lives, they got the professor apprehended, and they get away. But the cop car overheats in the middle of the forest, so it sucks for them, and they blew up their own truck trying to fix it, because it overheated even more. So, they walk to, somehow, a 7-Eleven, and the science guy, fun fact, they named the character My Name. Of course, it's a common Russian name, but still, Alexei. But Alexei was, loves 7-Eleven because of Slurpees. Who doesn't love a good frozen Slurpee, ice and stuff? But they had to commandeer a new vehicle, which they succeeded, and went to Murray. I believe that was his name. the conspiracy theory nut that also speaks Russian and is super smart, because conspiracy theories can make you smart because it opens your mind to ideas around the world. But the case in point here, he speaks Russian, so he was trying to communicate with him, and he was being stubborn, the Russian, until Hopkins said, "What, you know what? You want to leave so badly? Go." And he explained to the others while he held the door closed, while they're listening to him supposedly escaping, saying, "I've dealt with assholes like this all my life. Hey, he goes back there without a scratch on him, like he is they're gonna presume he spilled the beans. And then, he's more afraid of them than us. We're his best chance." And they're like, Mary and Joyce are like, "He's getting away." And then when they finally get Hawkins to move out of the way, he's like, the Russian is just sitting in the car out the driveway, and he's then realizes his situation, that he will die if he goes back, because he, well, is not harmed, free, whatever. But yeah, because of that, Eddie's mainly because he wanted to cherry Slappy. He was trying to get demands out of them. He said, yeah, of course in Russian, Mary translates, "I like strawberry too." Mainly because he gave up. He knew if he went back he would be dead. So once they got all the information on how to destroy the generator and machine, and they head to the fair where everyone else is heading, because they now all know the serious danger. Some more than others. 11, hitting Group 2. So now that the Lover's core is done, they figure out that Billy was a puppet in between Group 1 and 3 doing their stuff. They figure out Billy was a puppet by doing the same method of overheating his body, since the demon, Demogorgon, hates the heat. He loves the cold. Turns out that the Demogorgon was making multiple puppets out of humans after he figured out how to do it with one. And Billy, being the first puppet, aka the voice, was kept alive, at least in body, while everyone else was turned into the innards of an uncooked sausage. When you stuff a sausage in their skin, that's basically what they became, a giant monster that looks just like the Demogorgon's shadow, pretty much built in the image of its creator. But yeah, that was the grossest thing I've ever seen. But once you see it multiple times, you get used to it. But said Demogorgon hunts them down to kill them. He even tells that you're gonna die, and then all your friends are gonna die. Because El is the only person with the power to be able to stop him. But they get cornered like, ironically, because of earlier, get cornered like rats in a yep. Sorry, I was recalling one of the the future storytelling parts from the past. But they get cornered in Hop's cabin with the Demogorgon, that now like 20 feet tall, trying to break in and grab Ella and kill her. Of course, they were able to stop him for a second, but he was able to sneak in and then have Elle by the leg. They managed to pry her off and cut the tongue of the beast off, but to no avail. She's wounded by the Demogorgon, and they pretty much made the Demogorgon now like the creature from It. Not It. The Thing. Everyone knows that. The alien that's able to learn from any cells and copy those cells. Basically, the ultimate super monster, super alien. But even though it's a danger to itself, because it can probably forget who he was or what it was. Who knows? But yeah, the creature then is wounded by L, as they make their getaway to the mall. Well, now that everything's safe, Hopkins and Joyce, Group 1, went to the fair to try and find them. No avail. Alexei gets shot. It's always the smart, kind ones that gets killed. But they still know everything that they need to know, supposedly. He will get to a Daisy Pot. And then Group 1, 2, and 3 finally meet up as L saved Group 3 from Russians going to kill them by throwing a car at them. While she still has a wounded leg. And once they start figuring out what happened, and to her, that she has one of those parasite larva things inside of her leg. Luckily, it didn't go anywhere else. But it, like, drained her powers, supposedly, after she pried it out with her psychic powers. But, yeah, then Group 1 managed to meet up back with them, and they now know what's happening, everything. And the Demogorgon is hot on their trails. So, they come up with a plan to send all 3 adults into second hell. Because I believe first hell is where the Demogorgon is right now. A.k.a. above ground. But, they send a plan to send all the grown-ups down underground to shut down the machine, a.k.a. to close the portal, hopefully once and for all. Oh, I forgot to mention, while at Mary's place, they called for backup by our favorite professor that set L free from the government's control. But, Joyce, aka Will's mom, called for that backup, mainly for urgency, which came very late. I'll explain that as we go. Yeah, the adults got sent into the underground, and a facility with Lionheart, Robin, and Erica, and Dustin went back to Cerebro because they also need to tell people where to go once they're down there. Meanwhile, we're having more talking sessions between Group 2. They're trying to figure everything out and talk and love and maybe cherish their last moments. Once they get everything set up, they have, Group 1 needs a code because the code they got was wrong. I can't remember what it's called, the Panther's code or something. But no one knew it, and even Murray, one of the greatest minds in the group, did not know it, or at least know the right one, because apparently it's either he missed 1 or 2 numbers. But then Dustin finally gets in contact with his beautiful science partner. She is cute, not gonna lie, but she's too young for me. Not 18, not my time, can't be for me. Actually, they all look so young still. The only difference is when you see Mike next to his mom, he is towering her. But that's how they did. Unless he's still young, unless they put like high boots on him or something, where he looks taller, so he gets the idea of being older. That aside, Dustin finally gets in contact with Susie, he from science camp, and asks a science question to try and get her ask the math question and to save the world. And she's like, "Lovey Hans, you haven't talked to me in a week since you got back. Come on, you gotta sing. You gotta say it. You gotta make it up to me now." It's like, no, I can't. This is important. And I'm almost to this part of my book that I want to read. I'm so wanted to read. Then they start singing one of my favorite songs from one of my favorite movies. The Never-Ending Story. Sorry, I overtoned that, but it was such a lovely touch to the season finale, because I went through almost every episode because it goes by pretty fast, because it's basically like a movie. Everything goes in correlation, but and as I said, makes you want to watch more. But they sing the never ending stories theme song, and it was awesome. I loved it. And then out of the blue, she says like a robot, like I probably would, after talking or singing, that their code, the math equation. They unlocked the code, get what they needed to from a vault to be able to shut down the machine. But not before the Demogorgon gets hot on their trails. Finally inside the mall, Dustin tries to call out for help. Call to make sure Group 2 is still alive and safe. But no one picks up except for the monster, who hears the radio, thinking it's something, and for a second, and then throws it right against the thing that they were hiding behind. Luckily, it didn't spook them. So, they're all cowering in corners while the Demogorgon is right in the middle of the giant mall, trying to sniff them out. So, but once Mike and Elle and Sarah, I think, I can't remember, find an opening, they skedaddle to move to get to a better place to exit the mall, because they couldn't. And in the first place, because douchebag Bill, well, half douchebag, let's say puppet douche, puppet douche Bill, was sitting there waiting to ram them if they stayed outside too long. So they were pinned down either way, just waiting for the Demogorgon and to come upon them. But they managed to escape the Demogorgon himself, but Billy himself Billy went inside the mall after that, because he's a puppet, he does what he's told. He went inside to capture Elle, but Elle could not use her powers this time, which is horrible, because she needs those powers to fight off Bill, because Bill strength is enhanced with the Demogorgon influence. So, she gets knocked out, gets put right next to the Demogorgon in open plain sight, and then she wakes up real quickly and screams at it, right before it was about to take control, to kill her or possess her or whatever. Earlier, while they were trying to heal the wound from the leg bite, Will, Yola, and Eric picked up some rather interesting explosives. So they made homemade bombs and out of fireworks, and kablooey! Sadly, those bombs weren't strong enough to blow the pile of corpses as to smithereens, but it was strong enough to be able to stun him and keep him stunned. Regrettably, even Bill was under pain, because he was still connected to Demogorgon. Elle, who reached into his mind an episode earlier, otherwise the same episode. It's really easy to lose track of which part happened in which episode when you are just so hyped about everything that happened, but apparently she reached into his memories to find out where the Demogorgon was, even though when she looked, he could find her, just like they did in the second season. When Will looked, he could see back. But yeah, he found out. Yeah, but she also found out some memories and reminded Bill of all the good things that happened to him. And him being strong of will. I don't know why it's a little bit of a joke, because there's already an actual Will. If he was named Will, that would have been more funny. But Bill, being strong of will and might, was able to overcome the Demogorgon's power inside of him. The Demogorgon, thinking he was still part of him, and foolishly tried to still go after Elle once the explosives were exhausted. But he managed to stop him, holding him off for about 5 minutes before he killed him. And in that moment was the moment of truth. Dustin yelling for the for the doorway to be closed. Hopkins fighting Schwarzenegger by the machine. Of course, blowing him up into the machine by kicking him basically into it. Well, that's my simple way of saying it, because the fighting is a little more fun than I would describe. Because not good at describing fight scenes, but... Well, tension! And Joyce is trying to turn the keys solo to go shut off the machine and explode it. Hopkins and standing behind an electrical magnitude field that would kill him even if he steps through it, thanks to him throwing a body into the cog in gears because of the device. But Joyce is like, and Hopkins is like, basically smiling, do it. She turns the keys, the machine explodes, electrical power everywhere. All the scientists that were in that room that were trying to get Mary from underneath, sabotaging the machine as they went, and blew up to smithereens, as well as Hopkins. The portal would quickly close, the Demogorgon losing control of its flesh puppet. And tears were shed. Bill died of his wounds quickly, for they were too overwhelming. But at least he begged for forgiveness, in a sense, to his sister, because his sister knew how difficult he can be, but she still loved him. Because once her dad died, he was able to change and be good, but of course the Demogorgon changed that again. But yeah. And moments after the portal exploded, the American government shows up with our favorite professor that saved Elle from her fate of being hunted by the government, and to see what madness the Russians have done. Apparently Russians are called Ruskies. Who came up with that? Unless the Russians themselves came up with that. I don't know. Well, I'm a Russian, and yet I say that. Either way, aside from that, he finds where the portal is open, and he has this look of dread. Like he remembered those days years ago. Because apparently, from what Alexei said before he died, of course, explaining everything as I said, the Russians already were trying this, opening this portal and stuff themselves. They had the key, the science and stuff right. They had only one half of it right though. They needed a location because Elle opened the first portal. So there was a wound there that was still healing. So the Russians a year later, aka the time now, because it's happening while they were apparently fighting the Demogorgon before. Surprise? I think not. But, nevertheless, wow, that's the first time I said nevertheless in this video, I believe. But either way, the US government comes tracking everything down and makes sure everything is controlled finally, and keeps everyone safe. Tears are shed. Sorrow. 11 lost her dad, aka Hopkins, basically adopted that father, but still, father nonetheless, because he raised her after she came back from the Upside Down, months later, from season 2, in a sense. But Hopkins died. Everyone was sad. While they finally were moving, the Will family, and basically Joyce adopted Elle as her mother, as her daughter, I mean. Because of that, they then were moving out of Hopkins now. Hopkins. Mike and her were still boyfriend and girlfriend, and everyone was sad to see them go. Truly fitting in, but before that, we get a very, very touching speech from the heart by the voice, aka memory, of Hops. because he wrote a speech to try and talk to Mike and Ellen. Of course, he was terrified to try and say it aloud, so he threatened Mike. Again, watch the movie for those details, the show for those details. It would be much better than me trying to explain. But a heartwarming speech made me cry. Telling you you're growing up, to not be sheltered though, to carry on with the pain that you get as you go, because that pain is good. When you're out of the cave, it's good. It means you're growing stronger. Something like that. It wasn't that bad, but that bad as I said it, because I made it kind of sound butchered. But it was much better. Also, he put a bit of funny. Please, for your poor old dad's sake, keep the door 3 inches open. While she was crying and she read that, she started laughing and crying a little bit. I'm gonna tear up again. That was such a good. That was the best season out of them all. But they finally moved out. The season ended with Elle closing the door behind her. She walked out of Will's house because she was living with him. And that's the review, basically. I'm sorry this took so long. It was very detailed in a compressed TV show, which I think turned out exceedingly well. But the way they ended it, I don't think they planned for a season 4, and I honestly hope they don't. Don't get me wrong, I love the seasons. But I don't think they could top it off, make anything more out of it, without ruining the franchise. Without messing it up, you know? Because we see the Russians have escaped. The ones that survived, apparently. But that's the problem. The portal was closed. The machine was basically melted to a crisp. I don't think there should be a season 4. I don't. For the one reason for how they ended it. They left one opening with the Russians. One. Not with Elle, not with Mike or anything. They do not need to add any more seasons. If they do, they have a very high chance of ruining what they've already made. So, comment down below, like and subscribe if you want to see more stuff. Comment down below what you think of the show yourself. Maybe it was different for you than for me. I like stuff like this. What can I say? I don't know if it's different or not. For you, but yeah. And be on the lookout for my next music cover. Is going to be the Never Ending Story song. Because that song, with that show, made me so hyped up. I want to sing that song too, here now. So, be on the lookout for when I make that cover song. And the Grand Observer is over now. Hope you all enjoyed this episode. Like and subscribe, comment your opinions, and join me for the next review, eh? Have a good one, ladies and gentlemen.